Yes, sir.
Aloha and welcome to the Learning Center's workshop series via Zoom. My name is Kelly Ibalau and I'm an academic support specialist at the TLC. Today's workshop is titled Getting Done. We're hosted by Jenny, Wailana, and Shanice. If you have any questions for our presenters, please type it into the chat. Now let me pass it on to our presenters.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, so to open up our workshop, we're going to do a quick icebreaker activity. So everyone who is able to, I'm sorry, hang on one second. Okay, for everyone that is able to, we're gonna ask that you start your video and mute your microphones if you have not already. Okay, thank you very much for doing that. After this icebreaker, you can go back to not having your video on if you so choose. Okay, so step one for this icebreaker, we're gonna ask you to close your eyes. And when you think 1 minute is up, open your eyes and say something in the chat, like, you know, I'm done or I'm appalled, something like that. But please stay muted. Okay. Shanice will be keeping track of the actual minute long. Okay, is everyone ready to start the activity? Awesome. Okay, so close your eyes and take a minute.
Okay, 1 minute is up.
All right, one person. Okay, that's all right. So I'm gonna turn it over to Shanice, and we're gonna discuss why we had you open with that particular icebreaker. Oh, Shanice, you're muted.
Sorry.
There we go.
So the purpose of the activity that we just did is to show that time depends heavily on perception. For some people, 1 minute goes by faster, while others might feel that the time never seemed to pass, meaning that like the minute that we had our eyes closed, it just took forever. Everyone manages their time differently, and that's okay, but it's important to know that time and productivity are connected. Okay, next slide. Okay, so how do you differentiate what is time used efficiently or time consuming? On the slide is a couple questions that you can personally ask yourself, but as we stated earlier, time depends heavily on your perception. You can compare this to when you're scrolling through social media. You can tell yourself, okay, I'm just gonna scroll for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, my son. Okay, so back to what I was saying. You can tell yourself that you'll only scroll through social media for 5 minutes, and then you'll get back to your homework or whatever task that you had set for you at that moment. But then if you don't get through the whole feed, or you're stuck watching, say, like a video or a press conference, that 5 minutes can turn into 10, and so on and so forth. It's really it's important to track your time, only so that you know for yourself what your time is going to. And like, nobody knows, so I posted a picture here on the phone. This is actually not my personal, but this is my husband's activity on Instagram. Mind you, it only says your daily average, so it'll take how much time you spend every day on Instagram, and that'll be your daily average. But if you look at the picture itself, so Sunday, he was on it for a little less time, whereas Thursday it was a little more. So saying that your daily average is an hour and 30 minutes, yes, that seems a lot, but every day is different. Every day you're not doing the same thing. So it's just important. It's important to realize what you're focusing your time on.
Okay, so today's workshop, the objective is to understand what perception is, prioritizing time management tips, and then we wanted to apply the KAO framework into this training also. So we're going to go through the HUA, and then the ha'alele, and then which is having a plan, and then huaka'i, which is taking care of yourself, and then ho'i, how you can contribute to the community, and then also we'll have a little activity and some takeaways towards the end.
Okay, so this is actually a quote that I found online. The quote is, "Time management is really a misnomer. The challenge is not to manage time, but really to manage ourselves. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities." And that quote is by Stephen Covey. Okay, so our next slide is understanding perception. The definition of perception is the process of understanding, interpreting sensory information. So here it says, set a specific time frame for everything that needs to be completed for the day: schoolwork, chores, or errands. Create a distraction-free environment, finding a space, corner, or a room in your home. And turn off your phone and lessen social media. So in regards to that, there are apps. I know for an iPhone, you can download an app that'll block off all social media from your phone for an allotted amount of time. So perception is the state of being or process of becoming aware of something through the senses, or a way of regarding, understanding, or interpreting something. It's a mental impression. The way we manage our time rests in changing the way we perceive our time. Some areas where changing our perception of time is very important include understanding that you have all the time you're ever going to need. You already have the ability to manage your time effectively, and you are responsible for the way your time is used. So some tips that you might want to consider with understanding your perception is, how comfortable are you with keeping to a schedule? Some of us, like the night before, we can sit down and write everything that we're doing for that day, whether it's like from 8 to 9, you're going to read with your kids, 9 to 10, you take a break, however you might do that. And technology can play tricks on you. During this pandemic, technology is a blessing and a curse when it comes to our relationship with time. And the reason why we say that it can be a blessing and a curse is because it's a blessing because you get to at least keep up with friends, family members that you're not able to see during this COVID-19. But it's also a curse because your it's such an easy thing to run to, especially right now. You know, we're all stuck in the house. There's obviously stuff that you can do to manage your time, but social media is blowing up. You want to stay connected and updated with everything that's going on, but that can turn into just scrolling, and it really does take your time away. So, you know, finding how you perceive your time, it will benefit you, because instead of saying like, oh, I have to do my homework, it's like, okay, I have to do my homework because I want to be able to graduate to give my family a better life.
Okay. So prioritization, as the quote earlier said, you're not trying to schedule your priorities. You're trying to, wait, what are you? Sorry. You're not trying to prioritize what's on your schedule. You're trying to schedule your priorities. So basically, the importance of prioritization is, what do I have to get done right now? Because you could be freaking out about a giant paper that's due in 2 weeks, but that's 2 weeks from now, when you should be worrying about something that's due tomorrow or tonight or in an hour, or, you know, right now because you're in class. So ask yourself this question. Ask yourself these questions. What's due immediately? What can be pushed to later? What needs immediate focus? Once you have those figured out, it's a lot easier to prioritize and manage your time, because now you realize the importance of the things you need to get done now. And say your teacher assigns you a really big project that's due at the end of the year. It's really tempting to just say, oh, I'm going to do it later, later, later. We've all been there. But it's really important to just do a little bit at a time. I have a project due at the end of the school year, and how I tackle it is like, okay, I'm just going to do like the bare minimum today. So it's like, oh, I emailed my teacher to tell her that I want to do this for a project. That's one thing out of the way. And then the next day, maybe I'm going to actually do something that takes me to it. Like, oh, I started gathering the materials I need for the project. Oh, I started doing research for the project. And then before you know it, you're done. And that applies to real life too, not just school. So everything is crazy right now. And you have to actually ask yourself, do I care more about this project right now? Or do I have to worry about something else in my personal life right now? The trick to that is being honest with yourself. What at this point in time, with everything going on, is the most important thing you want to focus on? Next slide. Thank you. And then there's scheduling, you know, regarding school, regarding life. You want to be consistent in your scheduling. Like, you want to say, you know what? Thursdays at this time, I usually don't have anything to do. So on this day, I want to do this. I want to dedicate 30 minutes of my time to reading, working on this essay, or, you know, taking the time to do some research, doing something, as long as it's consistent. You want to plan ahead. You want to try to establish a daily routine, and you want to keep that going for yourself, even if it's just doing one consistent thing a day. Like, okay, at this time I'm brushing my teeth, at this time I'm eating lunch, at this time I'm eating dinner. Write down your commitments that you have to do. I have mine written up in front of me so that I remember when I have to go to work and stuff like that, and when I have an essay due. And writing it down does help, because there's a connection that your brain makes when you physically write something down. And when you complete those small little goals, it tends to make you feel a lot better. And you're like, well, if I did that, I can do this, and I can do that, and I can finish all these great things. And then, as I said earlier, try to have a designated assignment time. Try to have a time where you can work on things. Like, as I said before, set aside that time when you're not busy and other priorities aren't in the way, and say, I need to get this done during this time, or at least need to get it started during this time.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the first age of the CAL framework, and that's finding your hua. So your hua would be, you know, having your clear motive or the cause. You know, this is kind of like your calling. So in regards to this one, when you hear the word goal, everyone kind of automatically thinks about the bigger picture, which is fine. You know, like everybody has their own goals, but realistically, to achieve those goals, you need to take small steps. So even in regards to your education, you know, the end goal is going to be, I want to graduate with a liberal arts degree or whatever degree that you're in. But in order to get to there, you have to pass your classes every semester. You have to balance your work and your own personal life. So it's not just immediately getting there, you know, and be specific with any goal or task that you want to do too, because if you make it clear to yourself and you have your understanding of why you're going to do this, you know, it'll give you that much more motivation to actually complete it. So, you know, taking that moment to think about why you're doing these things and what you want to get out of it, and always making sure to write your thoughts down. Okay, so the next one is ha'alele. So the ha'alele is to leave or abandon or kind of evacuate. And this is the part in the framework that the person or someone would separate from their community to embark on their journey. You know, so technically we're not leaving anywhere to embark on our journey, but what we're doing right now is trying to make our, you know, college journey more positive and better for us. So what goal do you want to thinking about having that plan, because even when people venture off to other places to travel abroad or teach abroad, you know, you have to have a plan in place. You can't just be like, okay, I'm going to do that and go there and not have a plan when you get there. So thinking about the goals that you want to complete for the day and how you're going to manage to accomplish that. So I guess, for example, for me, I'm a mom. My son just came in because he was hungry. So, you know, that's a good example of not having a good plan. But, you know, knowing that it's okay and to just keep going, even when your plan doesn't work out. You know, everything's not going to be 100% and everything's not going to be perfect. But as long as you know and you're completing everything that you need for that day, and, you know, like, even as this third point says, what will hinder you from completing your goals or your task, you know, and it's not saying that kids are like a negative impact on it, but it is hard, that much harder to figure out and balance your life when you have kids, especially when you have multiple kids. I have 3. I have my son home, and then my other 2 are with family. So, you know, it is finding your balance and also having and finding a good support system so that you're able to not only finish and complete, whether it's homework or even chores, but also making sure that you take care of yourself too when you need it.
All right. So huaka'i, which is a process of taking care of yourself so that, you know, you can accomplish the goals that you're setting out to reach. So during this pandemic, it's very tempting to just sit next to the fridge and just eat everything in there, and how time doesn't really exist anymore, so sleep whenever. But despite everything that's going on, it's still important to establish a routine in your life. So still trying to get enough sleep, go to bed when you used to go to bed, you know, wake up when you used to wake up, just so that you keep some semblance of a routine in your life. you know, try to at least get ready, maybe change your clothes and just not stay in pajamas all day. Because when you get stuck in this kind of like, I don't have to go anywhere, I don't have to try, I don't have to look good. That's fine sometimes. But because COVID's going to be a long thing, like a year, 2-year long thing, potentially, we need to try to keep going, I guess. So I know how tempting it is to stay in your pajamas all day and just not do anything and like sleep all day. But that's not healthy. That's not taking care of yourself. You may think it's great because it's like, yeah, I'm just hanging out and I'm relaxing. But you're not. You're stagnating, I think is the correct word. You're not really taking care of yourself. And that has a really harsh impact on your mental health as well. Because once you stop caring about yourself, you stop caring about everything else. Which is another important of time management, is trying to keep yourself, you know, active in some way. Like, I don't mean like go like running or hiking, don't go outside. What I mean is just like get out of bed, fix your bed, get dressed, brush your teeth, read a book, look in the mirror and tell yourself, I got this, or I'm pretty, or something that helps you get out of bed and live your life as much as you can in quarantine is self-care. Does anyone have any tips for what they do to keep themselves? 1 or 2 people?
I'll share.
Okay.
So, kind of what to keep me grounded that I do on a daily basis is instead of kind of sleeping in and waiting for my kids to get up, I'll get up when my husband gets up to go to work at about 5:30, and I'll start my day reading my Bible and a devotion. That just kind of helps me, I guess, to get up, and that's my personal way of keeping me motivated and not necessarily just staying in bed because everyone's first kind of instinct, I'm guilty of doing it too, is grabbing my phone and looking through social media.
Good point, Shanice. Yes, I'm also guilty. My body still does this fun magic trick where even though I don't have to get up till 10, it'll wake me up at 7, and I will sit there for like half an hour and scroll through Instagram. I am very much guilty of that. And during the first weeks of quarantine, it was hard, but reestablishing a routine in your life does help you keep sane and keeps you motivated. Take care of yourselves. Drink water. Okay, next slide, please, Jenny. And then our ho'i, which is social distancing, not social disconnecting. So especially here in Hawaii, it is so hard to stay away from people. Personally, my cousins and I, we used to see each other every day on campus. I would go to their house, they would come to my house, and now I can't see them anymore, and that sucks. But we're still talking, we still text, we Zoom whenever we need. And keeping that communication open between all of us is really keeping me sane, and it's keeping me motivated to keep, like, you know, doing what I usually do. And also they like to remind me of when I have stuff due because they all have the same classes as me. So you know what? Even though you can't really see other people, they're still your support network. You know, you can talk to them, tell them, hey, I have an essay due in like 2 weeks. Can you remind me like next Friday that I have to finish it? And they will probably more than likely be happy to. So, you know, keep that communication open so that you still have that support network. You did not lose it. A lot of us did not lose it because of social distancing. Get involved and be informed. When we say get involved, that doesn't mean like go out and do, you know, marches and stuff. Please don't leave your house. I'm going to stress that a lot. But that just means check your social media for UHMC updates. I know we just told you to stay away from social media, but you know, taking it in moderation. So, you know, be informed of what's out there. Keep checking your hawaii.edu emails for more information. And the fascinating thing about Hawaii is that this is how you bring it full circle. So keeping your relationships alive, keeping your network up, staying informed, that will make it so much easier to integrate back into whatever sense of normalcy we had before coronavirus hit. It'll be easier to integrate back into face-to-face classes, and you won't have that much of a hiccup when we come back or when we leave online classes, because that's what Hawaii is all about. Next slide, Jenny, please. Activity time. Okay, so we're going to have an activity right now. If everyone can, grab something to write with, a pen and paper, or you can open up Word docs, or does AppleWorks still exist? If AppleWorks still exists, you can open that too. And those are the materials you'll need. And Shanice or Jenny, do you guys want to take over for instructions?
Yeah. Okay. So, after you get your pen and paper, we're gonna ask that you jot down 5 things that you accomplished yesterday. It doesn't really matter how big or small you want, or how big or small you, it's just, I guess, for lack of better words, it's your personal preference. Like, I guess for an example, yesterday I cleaned our room. Granted, yes, like that's like an everyday task that I know I should be doing, but it's an accomplishment for me because I'm always cleaning up my kids' messes rather than like my own little mess. So it can be anything that you feel like you accomplished yesterday. So 5 things that you accomplished yesterday, and after you write those 5 things that you did, that you accomplished, write down one wasteful thing that you did yesterday.
Shanice, let's have them write down the 5 things first.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead and write down the 5 things that you guys accomplished yesterday. And let us know either in chat or out loud when you guys are done.
Thank you. Yourself?
Right. So now that that's done, we have one more thing we want you guys to write down. One wasteful thing that you did yesterday. And wasteful means something that's totally unproductive, did not help you go towards your goals. So that would be scrolling through social media or watching something on Netflix, something like that. Just one thing. And same thing as last time, once you're done, just write it in the group chat or say you're done. Awesome. Okay, these earrings kind of hurt.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay. I'm also done.
5 things I did yesterday that I accomplished. Number 1, I had a wonderful breakfast, like every day. I like it. I like my ginger tea with my cornbread. Then I did laundry. I read chapter 25 for accounting. Then I went to see my doctor for chiropractic and massage for my therapy. And number 5, I have dinner and a movie with friends. One thing I didn't like it, I eat cake with a lot of calorie, which I didn't like. Yeah. Okay. I see Jenny laughing.
Thank you, Argentina, for sharing. Anybody else want to share theirs?
I'll share. This is Misty. So I went for a 3-mile run. I had a Zoom Pauhana with my friends that we've been trying to schedule forever. I got my truck, the oil change on my truck. I finally made sausage and cabbage before the cabbage went bad. And for work, I got some Chromebooks. I had to order a whole bunch of Chromebooks, so I got the bids for that. And then the one thing that was not productive and did not help me with anything was during my Zoom Pauhana, I drank a lot of alcohol.
Wailana, you're muted.
Girl, good girl.
I'm sure it was worth it though.
Yeah.
Khalid, share yours.
Okay, I'll share mine. Okay. Set up my home office space. I took a long walk with my dog. I allowed me to sleep early. I vacuumed, which, you know, and I did something, but I can't read my writing. I haven't had any alcohol, so I don't know if that's one.
Good boy.
And,
Good job.
and for something negative that I did is I think I took too long rearranging my furniture, but then I kind of realized is rearranging it but without a focus and a plan, you know, was causing me to kind of just move things around a little bit more than I should have. So, thanks. Who's next?
I'll be next, Barbara. Yesterday, I got my final paper started. That was number 1, the first thing I did. Number 2, I turned in an assignment. Number 3, I did my schoolwork. 4, I went to tutoring. And 5, I slept. And the one bad thing that I did yesterday is I watched TV.
Good job.
Thank you for sharing, Barb. Thank you for sharing, everybody. That was great. Next slide, Jenny.
So with the activity, we hope that you guys are able to see what you've accomplished, what you've done. And sometimes we beat ourselves up for thinking that we haven't done anything when in fact we do more than we give ourselves credit for. So by focusing on one wasteful task, you're able to see, oh, did I spend my time productively yesterday or not? So hopefully this activity will be able or helped you realize what you guys have achieved yesterday, even though it's a small task. So now we want to hear from you folks. If you guys can go on your phone to sly.do, this website over here on your phone or on your computer, and then you're gonna enter this event.
Go to Edo. Like what kind of workshop I need to do?
Argentina, was that a question?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
It's asking what type of workshop you need to do, and so I have to answer type
Yeah.
one.
Yes, so you're answering the question, what is one thing you're going to utilize from the workshop? So you see on Jenny's screen how this is what people are answering, like, this is what I'm going to take away from, this is what you're taking away from the workshop, what you're going to start doing.
For like what we doing now, because I log in kind of late.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Resection learning to. Okay, now I can read this part. Okay. Understanding.
Whatever you took away from the presentation.
Okay.
Hey, Walana, could I just make a comment?
Understand.
Yes.
So I think it was really good when you guys focused on the Hawaii part and how it was a good explanation of saying like, this is sort of the struggle that we're all going through. And this struggle will only make us stronger when we return back to a, normal state. Like, that's really good to always remember, because at some point this is going to end. We're going to get back to some productivity state that's different. But a lot of the things we're learning right now is sort of keeping us focused on being, hardworking and wanting to be able to persevere. So great points. Thank you.
Yeah.
We will go back to normalcy at some point. And everything we're going through is just going to help us get ready.
I can talk about this one, the importance of remembering how we will be better when we return. Making a list. Is that the one we just did? So at the end of the day, making a list to see how productive was your day and what was not.
I think making a list is really important, because you can see how
this is like a kind
productive,
Yeah. This is like a kind of kind of one of the things I think pretty much at the end of the day, like when I go bed, you like rewind everything on your brain, like, oh, I did it until you first sleep.
Right. And then sometimes if you don't make a list, you feel like you did a lot of work, but you cannot like remember what you did.
What do you need for tomorrow?
Right. Or how the workshop said it was, maybe you have to schedule it later on, and what's the thing you have to do now?
Did everyone answer the poll? I believe we did.
Yeah, looks like we got everybody.
Yeah, I did.
All right.
Oh, I still writing my.
Jenny, anything to add? Okay. Can you pull the slide back up? There we go.
Oh, thank you everybody for joining us today. If you have any questions, we're available and here to support you. We offer tutoring or any other really academic service that you need. Our contact information is listed on the slide. You can contact us by phone, email, or you can go on our website and contact us that way. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat or let us know. But Wailana or Jenny, you guys want to add anything to wrap up what we talked about today?
TLC is still open. We're still doing our main service, which is tutoring, as Shanice said earlier. We're still open. We're still here. We're still ready to help you get through this transition. And then we'll be there once this is all over to help you out of it.
Well, for me, Learning Center never closed. Thanks to Learning Center, I am following with my homework. Learning Center has always been a home to me, and I have accomplished my courses thanks to you guys. So even though the COVID thing is going on, but Learning Center never closed. So I cannot imagine how my courses would be without you. Literally, and it's not that I wanted to talk too much, but other centers are not pretty much helping out there. So thank you.
Thank you, Argentina.
Thank you, Argentina, for sharing.
Thank you, Argentina. We really appreciate you and all the support you give us as well, and keeping us on our toes and providing feedback. We love you.
And thank you for all the support. We couldn't get through it without you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yes, that is true.
You're welcome. Thank you for being there.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
So we're going to continue the workshops Tuesday and Wednesday. 3 o'clock, it's going to be through an RSVP basis, so we will try to get the RSVP out sooner. Tomorrow, we have a scheduled Zoom session at 3 o'clock as well. It'll be titled Hacking Your Study Habits. Looking forward to seeing you guys on our next workshop. Mahalo. Thank you all for attending.
Mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Oh, Jenny, I need to make an appointment with you for tomorrow.